Welcome to another iteration of the CPA versus CMA content here live on LinkedIn. And today the topic is just the exams, a very brief overview of the differences between the exams themselves, because I think a lot of people, there have been changes over the years. They understand that one is public accounting, one is managerial accounting, but how do they overlap? What's the difference? We'll just do a very brief overview, and then I'll give you the information on where you can actually look into the details if you're on the fence about which one to do, and you can get into it a little bit yourself on maybe deciding which might be the right fit for you if you haven't gotten a certification or a license in either in the past. And if you have one versus the other, this might be a nice way to explore the topics that would need to be learned or refreshed if you are going to go after the other one. So we'll talk about the CPA exam first. And CPA exam is a little bit more complicated because they're doing a very expansive evolution project, which I'm very excited about, where they're going to be making more variety in the credential itself so that you can take the core like you would have a major in college, but you actually get to do a designation, a specialty on top of that core. And that's going to go into effect in 2024. But in the meantime, I'll start by focusing on what is the CPA exam now. And there are 4 parts: financial accounting and reporting, audit, regulation, and business environment concepts. BEC, which is kind of a catch-all. So it has a lot of different topics. Economics and IT are kind of gathered together in that last section. And those parts there are 4-hour exams. And what you'd need to go to figure out what is actually tested in each section is my favorite document that they've ever created. It came out in 2017. It's called the AICPA Blueprint. If you're not familiar with it, the review course doesn't focus on it. It's fabulous, and you can use it with any review course. And it's free, it's from the AICPA directly. I love it. And you just download it. And what I typically recommend is read through that thing before you even start studying, and it'll tell you exactly what you need to study and at what level you need to study it. And if you need to know journal entries, or if you don't, it all in there. So that's a very helpful document for the CPA exam. After the change in 2024, there'll be 3 main parts, and I'll pull this up because it's new. I make sure I say it right. There's the core. The 3 main parts are accounting, audit, and tax, reflective of the industry. Makes sense. And then there are 3 designations that you can select one of them. So you choose your own adventure style test. So you can be a specialist in tax compliance and planning. You can be a specialist in business analysis and reporting, or you can be a specialist in information systems and controls, which would probably be the one, if I were taking it, I would probably specialize in that because I went into IT attestation and audit, and that would be appropriate to learn that on the CPA exam. You would only take one. You can't do all of them. So you have to pick. And that's one of the things they made very, very clear. But if you pick one and don't pass and then want to take a different one, you could. But you can only have one passing specialization. Okay, that's CPA exam. So that's before. We have 4 parts for audit, reg, BEC. After, still 4 parts. But the last part, you get to pick one of 3. And those parts are accounting, audit, and tax. And then the last 3, I won't repeat them all, but there's more of an IT one, there's more of a tax one, and then there's more of a business analysis, managerial accounting type of one, which all the details will be forthcoming. They're still kind of working out all the details on where topics fit. Okay, so that's CPA exam. CMA exam, 2 parts. Just 2. And it's a little less daunting. They're both the same length. They are focused obviously on managerial accounting, but the parts break into financial planning, performance, and analysis. And the second part is strategic financial management. The second part's more, you have to know the ratios and you have to know risk management and some of the make versus buy decisions, all of those types of things. And then in part one, and you can do the parts in any order for either exam, any order. For part one, internal controls, technology, cost management, budget forecasting, those types of things. So that's kind of how those two split. And all of that stuff typically currently on the CPA exam fits either on financial accounting reporting with the ratios and that type of thing, or on the BEC section in the managerial accounting chunk, which is kind of the last section of the BEC blueprint. If you want to look at the specifics, the minutia on the CMA exam, there's two documents you need to look at. The first one, these are both on the IMA's website. They're free. All of this is free. The content specification outline is the first one that you'd need to look at. And it's got just the broad topics. So it lists all the topics, how much percentages are tested for each. And so it's like, for example, part one, external financial reporting decisions, 15%. And then it says balance sheet, income statement, bullet point. Great. That's helpful. If you're going through review, make sure you know everything. Also, my more favorite document is the learning outcome statement document from the IMA for the CMA exam. And it actually identifies, much more like the blueprint, learning objective statements. So it says, identify issues within the inventory valuation, calculate this, distinguish between these things. It's telling you in a verb the information you actually have to know and what level of that information you have to know. If it's saying identify, you don't need to learn how to do the nuances of it. If it is distinguishing between two different things, you don't need to calculate it. Very helpful. So I'm going to have that information if you're looking at the CPA exam. To recap, CPA exam 4 parts, CMA exam 2 parts. If you are interested in the CPA exam, your first stop is the CPA exam blueprint from the AICPA. And if you're interested in the CMA exam, your first stop are the content specification outline and the learning outcome statements. Mouthful, but all right. That was a lot of information. If you have questions and you want me to answer them in a live video or on my YouTube channel, you just let me know, put them in the comments. I'm very interested in helping answer those questions.